Well, the clock is ticking in Washington. Speaker Kevin McCarthy and President Biden have just 7 days to nail down a debt ceiling deal before the nation's first ever default, according to Janet Yellen. That's the date. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre warns there's no plan B.
What I can say is this is the only option that we have is for Congress to do its job.
Let's bring in House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. I want to play a little bit about what Speaker McCarthy said this morning when he was on with our colleagues on America's Newsroom about the possibility of getting a debt deal. Listen here.
I don't know if we have a deal today. We worked well past midnight last night. We did make progress yesterday, but we still have a number of items that need to get through. And look, I've had numerous discussions with the presidents about this. We've gone round and round, and he knows where we are, and we know where our differences are, and we will continue to be at the table to try to solve this problem.
Round and round sounds like an old Rat song, but doesn't sound particularly positive, Congressman.
Well, John, good to be with you. And obviously, if you look at who has taken action to address the debt ceiling, the House is the only body that's done that. You know, the White House keeps talking about Congress needs to do their job. We passed a bill to address the debt ceiling. The president took 97 days off. He just recently got back engaged. And the United States Senate is not even in this week. There are no senators here. They're not even coming until next week. Clearly, they're not taking this seriously, but we are. And that's why we passed a bill to address the debt ceiling, but also to address Washington's spending problem. Shouldn't we also be addressing the fact that for every $100 we're taking in, Washington spends $129? You can't keep doing that. We want to fix that, too, and that's what these negotiations are about.
So Jackie Heinrich a little while ago passed along a letter from the House Freedom Caucus to Speaker McCarthy with some new demands. They want border security and nixing FBI headquarters spending to the Limit, Save, Grow Act. They want Janet Yellen to show her math in terms of the X-date being June the 1st, and they want to quickly move for COVID and IRS rescission so that they can push the X-date back to the end of June. They framed this in this way. They said, Speaker McCarthy, you're the reason why there is so much unity in the Republican conference, and if you want to keep it that way, do this. Are you concerned that they may begin to derail the process here with new demands?
No, look, they've been working with us every step of the way, bringing ideas to the table, just like other members of our conference, and that was reflected in the bill that we passed. Everybody had involvement in that. We also did pass other bills. Just a few weeks ago, we passed that very bill that they referenced, H.R. 2, the Securing the Border Act. We all know how out of control the border is. We've got to get that under control, too. But we need a president who's engaged. The president has to put real ideas on the table. He should have done that 2 months ago when we started these talks. He checked out for 97 days, and that's cost the White House some time. We haven't been waiting. We've been doing our jobs.
Well, the way the speaker describes it, he may have to give up a few things in order to get a deal. Listen to what he said this morning.
And the one thing I will tell people is this deal won't solve all the problems. The president took a lot of things off the table, but this will put us in the first step. And whatever we don't achieve here, we'll come back the next day to get it, because we've got to start working towards being able to balance the budget. And this is the first step.
That sounds ominously like kicking some cans down the road, is it?
Well, if you look at some of the things the White House has tried to do that we said are non-starters, President Biden said that he wants to spend more money. We said that's not going to be the case. In fact, we need to spend less. President Biden said that he wants more tax increases on hardworking families. We said that's a non-starter. There will not be a dime in new taxes. In fact, we need to work to lower the tax burden that's hurting families right now with high inflation. Washington's spending is driving high inflation. And President Biden, by the way, has raised over $1 trillion in new taxes the last 2 years. So if tax increases would solve the problem, we'd already be at a balanced budget because of what Biden and Pelosi did. Obviously, that doesn't work. We need to go in the other direction and control spending and get our economy moving again. That's what we've been focused on.
The president is trying to make the case that it will be Republicans who are to blame if the company does tip over into default. But the American people would seem to be with you, Congressman, according to a new Fox News poll. Asked who is more to blame if leaders fail to reach a debt limit agreement, 47% said the president, 44% said Republicans, 8% said both. And the American people appear to be with you in terms of spending as well, because we asked on the debt limit, Congress should increase only if spending cuts, 57%, without cuts, which is the president's position, 27%, not increase at all, 13%. Quick final thought from you.
Yeah, look, the president said he wanted a blank check. Not only did we say that's not going to happen. The American people have said that's irresponsible. That's why we have high inflation, because of too much spending. The president took 97 days off, and the American people watched that too. And they said, look, the House passed a bill. They laid responsible ideas on the table, work requirements for people that are sitting at home making $35,000 a year while somebody else is working 2 jobs, barely getting by. Let's reclaim unspent COVID money, maybe $50 billion of unspent COVID money, and COVID is over, even according to President Biden. Why not give that money back to the taxpayers and get more savings there? Those are the common sense things we put in our bill. I think that's why the American people have responded and said, why don't you work with what the Republicans have laid out and get this deal done?
Clock is ticking down toward the deadline. The president's hitting the beach this weekend, though, as the White House said. He can work from anywhere, as long as it's not Australia or Papua New Guinea. Congressman, good to be with you. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Have a great Happy Memorial Day, too.